The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Green Acres and our guests. These general gardening tips and suggestions may work for you, as well as those from alternative sources. When using any garden products or tools, read and follow all label directions. And learn how to make your yard summer strong at bewatersmart.info.
The Green Acres Garden Podcast is the podcast dedicated to helping gardeners hone their growing skills while we celebrate our love of plants. So whether you're new to growing or a seasoned gardener, you're sure to learn something new. Join the fun as we have conversations with world-class growers, passionate green thumbs, and professional garden experts from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Listen every week. We'll answer questions you didn't know you had. Here we grow. Hello there and welcome one and all to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gardeners of all ages, this is the Green Acres Garden Podcast. I'm your happy host, Kevin Jordan, gardener extraordinaire, at least self-proclaimed, back in studio for another great episode. It's pretty warm out there, but we're going to have a cool episode for you. I actually have a little surprise for you. So, of course, I have Austin Blank, AB. How's it going there on the ones and the twos?
Hello, Kevin, and welcome back to all of our listeners. It's the best time of the week. And, Kevin, who do we have in studio today?
So we have a very special guest. We have the original garden guy, Greg Gayton. He is a longtime friend of the podcast because, guess what? He is one of our producers. He actually plucked me from obscurity. This podcast, I wouldn't be here hosting if it wasn't for Greg. So to that, I'm eternally grateful. And we are going to have a great talk. No, Greg is actually going to win us over with grasses. Greg Gayton, how you doing there, bud?
Hey, Greg.
I am doing very well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Grasses are my favorite thing. Fruit tree. Actually, shade trees and then grasses.
You love grasses.
Oh, grasses are the thing.
Which is saying a lot because you have been in the industry, for those who don't know, well over 40 years, 4 decades as a nurseryman. And you know it all. And it's actually, you are so passionate when it comes to all the things colorful and flowers. It kind of caught me off guard. I didn't realize you had such enthusiasm for grasses. I love grasses too. So are you going to win us over and show us the way? Why are grasses so wonderful in our landscapes?
Well, we've gone through so much. We've gone through drought. We've gone through everything. And when you look at it, grasses are the most adaptable plants you have. Leave Sacramento, go about 10 miles out, and look at the natural landscape. What do you see? Grasses. You don't see lawns, you don't see shrubs, but you see natural grasses. And so through all these different climate conditions that we've had, grasses are some of the most durable. But what's really cool about them is we've had all these new introductions of grasses. We're carrying more native grasses, but we're getting grasses from Australia. We're getting grasses from climates just like us. And the benefits of grasses is just every year we find more and more positive things about growing grasses in your landscape.
There's ecological benefits to grasses?
There are huge ecological.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of grasses will sequester carbon and store that carbon in their roots. A lot of, where do beneficial insects go in the wintertime? They don't have a Holiday Inn for beneficial insects. The grasses are where they go. A lot of the grasses in nature, they're protection for wildlife. They provide food, but the main thing is people have found that they just add so much to a landscape. They add dimension. They just add movement. They add color. It's a lot. Our landscapes, we become more in tune to the environment, but the grasses add a lot of interest to a landscape.
Here.
Now,
Man, bravo.
The viewers can't see this, but Greg, you brought in a bunch of grasses. So we're not talking about your lawn grass.
Absolutely right. This
is
not the normal turf. These are your people call ornamental grasses, right?
Yeah, we call them grasses, but there's sedges and there's, just like horsetail reed and all different kinds of spiky, grassy-like plants. So they all pretty much, we put them all into grasses.
Well, it's great you bring up the movement. I was just driving through a pretty, urban area, just not too far from here, Austin, near downtown, and right alongside a big, massive building, a lot of concrete. It was softened up by a big planting of grasses. I think it was the Carl Forester. and it looked real. I think did I say that right?
You did.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. And like I said, it kind of grows up out of nowhere, and it really softens an area that otherwise definitely needed it.
That's one of my favorites because it looks beautiful throughout the year. It's called feathery reed grass, but it's called feathery reed grass because of the beautiful plume. And what it does is this starts in the summer, but in the fall, the plume moves with the wind, and it gives you that sort of tranquil, peaceful part of your landscape, and it can be used as a screen or a focal point, but it just gives you a nice serenity feeling in your landscape.
I think it does bring that a little bit of peacefulness, like you said, with that movement, the texture.
And I like that you said it softens. I don't
Yes.
get how that happens, but you're right. It totally, that bushy thing makes it feel soft for some reason. You wouldn't expect that, but like from a distance, it feels like a soft.
Well, there's tons of plants a person could put there, right? And some of them are a little bit more boxy or formal or a little bit more rigid. But grasses tend to kind of give with the weather and the wind a little bit and kind of bend. And if you walk past it, it kind of beckons you to kind of brush your hand against them and along them. I don't know.
Oh, they have noise too. I wonder. Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
put in a little grass noise right here. Ooh.
That would be nice. I'm into it. I know Greg listed all of the benefits. Actually, there's some more for sure.
Oh, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. But like on the calamagrostis, which is the feathery grass, the Carl Forster.
Love it.
There's
Okay, so that's all three names for one thing?
Yeah, calamagrostis, Carl Forster.
Okay, cool. I just, sorry.
Or you could go in Carl Forster grass or reed grass, but there's a lot of different grasses that are in the calamagrostis family.
What are some of the main categories of plants? I know you mentioned the calamagrostis. Are there going to be a few others?
Yeah, there's miscanthus, there's acorus, there is carex.
That's the sedge you brought up.
Yes,
Yep.
There's equisetum, which is the horsetail reed.
I see you brought some of that.
There's the blind ambition grass. There's a sisyrichium, which is the native.
Okay, you got to say that again. That was cool. Sisyrichium?
Sisyrichium, which
That's amazing.
Which is the blue-eyed grass. And remember when we went out to Hedgerow Farms, and they had acres and acres of that.
Native, right?
Native grass, native to California.
That was a beautiful one. Talk about movement. When you could look out and see just rows of that kind of dancing with the wind as it touches it, it looks like you see the hand of Mother Nature just come down into that field and just brush that grass along. It's so pretty.
We have that in seed packets from Hedgerow Farms, right? In the stores, We
get it in 1 gallon containers every so often too during the year. But, fall's coming up. And, well, it doesn't feel like it today, but that's a great grass that you can actually just introduce in your yard via seed pack.
Okay. You wouldn't think of a grass as being pretty, but that one is pretty. That is a pretty grass.
So, Greg, I'm one here you brought in is catching my eye, especially. I feel like you need to shout this one out because it has all the qualities that you guys have both mentioned. It's soft, it moves, it's got pretty tall verticality to it, but it's got all these are these little seed pods? What are these little bits in there?
That is called blonde ambition grass. The great thing about these grasses are it will take drought conditions, and it'll also take wet conditions. So they're not fussy as far as soil requirements go. But this one is really cool because when it starts to send out its seed head, they are magenta and then they turn to this blonde color, and that's why it's called blonde ambition grass. But you can put it's great for around California natives or just a really drought tolerant landscape. It just really looks cool. It looks great nestled next to a rock, along a walkway. Yeah, it just sort of comes out and sort of says, "Wow, it's like a garden, a living garden sculpture in your yard."
It almost reminds me. I know, Austin, you're a bit of a musician. They look at those seed pods come up and they're bent at the top.
Yeah. Oh, does it look like a note?
It looks like a musical note.
Like for notation, you'd write with a little. Yeah, you're right. That's
so
funny.
Pretty. And then Greg brought it up. So beautiful, right next to a rock in rock gardens, rain gardens where you need a hardscape, an area. You can soften those edges with these beautiful grasses.
And, okay, so you guys are young.
Thank you. I'll take it. I'll take Austin more than me, I guess, a little bit.
So when I started 46 years ago, there was like 3 grasses in the nursery.
That's it?
There was lily turf. There was pampas grass, which is...
That's a no-no.
That's invasive, yeah.
That's a no-no grass.
And there... mondo grass. That was about it. And everybody had a big, huge lawn. It was really boring. Here we go through times of no rain, or less rain, I should say. And we developed this new Western landscape. And with this Western landscape, we start to have really unique and beautiful yards because we have to use less water. What's the perfect thing? Grasses, and they're also low maintenance. So people who take their lawn out, you really should consult with people on how to do the landscape. You don't want to just plop in a bunch of grasses, but they fit into the new Western landscape because they're low maintenance. They don't take as much water. Some of them don't take hardly any water, but they give you that three-dimensional landscape. They give you that beauty, but the benefits of them, besides that, is they support wildlife. They support the pollinators. People go, "Wow, I want to bring pollinators into my yard," but they never think about where do they go in the wintertime. So, you don't cut your grasses back until April when it starts to get warm because you want those bugs to wake up and go out and do their thing. But you're bringing wildlife into the yard. Deer grass is a California native.
I was thinking that right as you were talking. You're reading my brain. Muhlenbergia?
Yeah. And what's great about that, it's called deer grass because it's native, but that's where all the fawns were protected. It laid in the grass for protection, so that's why I call it deer grass. There's another one that's really cool, Lamandra, which is really getting popular.
We have it at the school garden.
And it's native to Australia and New Zealand, but it's also called mat grass. And the reason why is because the Aborigines in Australia used it to make mats out of.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I got to do some research. That's awesome.
Oh, all these grasses have a really cool history with them, and when you realize that, you're not only bringing beauty, but you're bringing life, and you're bringing a lot of history into the garden.
Man, wow.
Greg, you mentioned the care is easy. I'm curious, and maybe there is some pruning to them, and some very low water needs. Can you kind of break down? Do these all require similar water and care? What do they require?
Some of them will tolerate low water. Some of them need a little bit more water.
Oh, okay.
Once they're established, they tend to become more water-wise. As far as cutting back goes, any of them that die back in the wintertime, you really should cut back like in April, because if you don't, new growth will come up and you'll see all that dead growth in with your new growth. So you want, like Pennisetum, the
purple fountain grass.
Yeah, you want to cut those back. But it's really easy. I mean, you can go out there and it doesn't take very much time. But you have all these focal points in. And, we talk about the Western garden and bringing out some beauty and natural beauty, but now we're starting to see even everywhere is having grass. Like, for example, the Japanese forest grass that likes the shade. You're starting to see them in Eastern gardens and that there's grasses for everything. So for shade, there's like the Japanese forest grass, there's the lily turf, there's the black mondo grass. They're all really cool and they all offer something. There are some that have fragrance to them. For example, the Tobagia, the society garlic. It doesn't smell that great, but
it certainly has a fragrance.
Yeah, they call it society garlic.
What does it smell like?
It smells like garlic.
Very strong, yeah.
But it's less than regular garlic. It's not related to garlic.
Pretty plant, durable.
But what's really cool about that, you see them in Sacramento. They have them in parking mediums.
Big clumps of them, swaths of them,
because they're so easy to grow. But I had a customer in Rancho Murrieta who had a really bad deer problems. The deer were coming and eating everything.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So this customer went and planted big groupings of Tobagia, and the neighbors thought it was beautiful. But what happened was he noticed that the deer were staying away because of the fragrance is so strong that the deer don't like that. So that's something, it's deer repellent.
That's Tobagia?
Tobagia, society garlic. Another one that has fragrance is the Acorus of the sweet flag. There are most of them that smell like black licorice, but in a good way. If you don't like black licorice, you'll like this smell. So there's actually even one called a chorus licorice that smells really cool. It likes a little afternoon shade, like the Ogon, which is a golden one that has a little bit of a fragrance, and that really highlights a shady area.
Well, Greg, you're listing a lot of interesting plants, and I don't think people realize some of these are grasses we talked about earlier that might get taller, maybe with flower spikes 3-4 feet tall. Some of those are ones that could go all the way down and be almost a ground cover that are just several inches tall. So can you go into how the differences kind of differentiate some of these varieties? What are some that you would recommend for someone if they wanted a really low grass?
A low grass would be like the mondo grass, Ophiopogon, or the lily turf. So if you have a shady area, like the rain lily, the Zephyranthus does really well. It stays low. It's called a rain lily because where it's native, it blooms only when you have a heavy rain. But it seems to bloom. It's sort of a little delirious here because we don't have heavy rains, but it still seems to bloom. So there's a lot of grasses that will go with the ground cover. Like I said, the lily turf, the mondo grass. There are some acarists that stay low too.
And what's that one I saw? I feel like it came into popularity these last few years, and especially in drought-tolerant and water-wise gardening. Was it the blue fescue, that little dwarf one that's real short, real compact? It just seems kind of rugged, and it always stands out. It's not a very big plant, but it's kind of silvery blue. What's the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, you're talking about like the blue fescues. There's different varieties like Elijah blue and just all kinds. And what's really cool about them is it's really structured. So you can have like in an area, it's sort of like, what's the word to describe? It's just symmetrical. They add art form to a ground cover area.
Like a little dot of spiky blue ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like really cool.
And the biggest killer of those is too much water. So you got to make sure you have good drainage on the fescues, but they are absolutely beautiful. And the one thing about grasses are, if you put them in, they're going to look better the second year and the third year once they're established.
Oh, yeah. What are some varieties of grass that are maybe like in the mid-range size?
Like the blonde ambition grass.
So how tall is that? Maybe 2-3 feet?
2 to 3 feet. Another one, what I brought for you, I brought one of each, is the lemongrass.
You know what? So that's one that is not traditionally thought of, right? But because we use it as an herb?
You use it as an herb.
Oh, that's the lemongrass we cook with.
Yes.
Oh, you
For
can
Thai
put that in your landscape.
cuisine. We've
That's
grown
a
it at
cool
the school,
grass.
and we actually had to uproot it after a few years because it got so big, and we had to move it to a better spot because it grew so well.
But 3 to 4 feet, but it does spread.
Yeah.
But one thing great about this is, we use this for cooking. We use it, it's actually an antioxidant. There's so many uses, but almost all these grasses, especially the native grasses, the Indians used for all different kinds of medicinal reasons. So, every time I turn around, there's something new that's positive about grass.
Greg, what are the tallest grasses? Let's say I want to go as high as I can. What do we got?
Probably the tallest one, and they're great screens, especially in a nice, really informal native-like landscape, would be like the miscanthus.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
get to about 6 feet. Some of the calamagrostis, too, get pretty tall.
That one's pretty tall. What's this one right here?
This is the Carl Forster.
Oh, okay. That one's a good 3-4 feet right there.
This one, you can't go wrong,
Yeah.
because when it sends up the seed head, it's beautiful.
Looks
Yeah,
almost
those
like
are nice.
barley at the top.
Yeah.
It has that look like I want to harvest that and
And
make some
that
bread.
seed head later on is food for birds and wildlife.
I love it. We come across a lot of nests in the garden these last spring, and I noticed a lot of it. You'll see long stems of grasses that are woven in to kind of be the base. I love it. So hopefully
Did you get that at your garden?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, a lot
absolutely.
of bird nests? in
Several,
the
yeah. And we
fruit
only
trees?
have 30 trees, and it's like every other one seemed to
that's
have a
cool.
small nest in it. One of them actually ended up having hawks had a Cooper's hawk nest in it that I just left alone. Because after this week, I got stung by wasps this week.
You did?
I did.
Oh, no. Are you okay?
3 bites or stings, I guess. And
So you've been pollinated.
I've been, yes. Oh, yeah. Inoculated, pollinated. And yeah, it was a bummer. I was just watering and I was like, I'm going to prune this plant, and something looked a little off. And instantly they came out and let me know that I disturbed them. And so I had to back off, but it's all good. My hands swelled up like a ripe tomato.
Yikes. Okay, I'm
but
glad you
all's
made
well.
it.
All's well.
So I do want to talk about that one right there. So that's the reed, right?
Horsetail reed.
Horsetail
Equisetum.
reed.
Yeah.
I feel like this is important because I see this a lot in modern landscapes, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's a lot of people are recognizing this as a great addition to very modern, kind of sharp landscapes, and it looks fantastic. Greg, can you break this one down and its care and what we should be thinking about with this one?
Well, Equisetum is great in containers because it can go a little wild.
Oh, yeah. Very invasive.
But you can put it like in, for example, a very modern landscape, put it like a nice, beautiful cement basin and put it out there. And it's a sculpture within itself because of the way the ribbing is. It's very hardy in our zone 9, I believe 8 as well. It does really, it's actually like a sculpture. I keep using that word sculpture, but that's the great thing about grasses. It adds so much. And there's a grass for every landscape.
Is that a grass?
It's a reed.
It's a reed, okay. So those are hollow inside there.
Those are hollow
things.
inside, but they're beautiful. And I have, so I work out in the garden. I mean, work out in the nursery. I can't get away. I like working with customers. And my love affair with grasses came to people were going, I got to get rid of my lawn. I've got to take everything out. And they think, wow, it's really easy. But it isn't. So I always tell them, work in a small area. And so they're looking at all these shrubs and that, and then I'm going to think, have you thought about grasses? Because they're low maintenance. They don't take a lot of water, a lot of them, and they just add so much beauty to your yard. And you go into the nursery, and I was just in the Sacramento store, and there was over 50 varieties of grasses. So don't let that get you down.
Oh, wow.
Go out and look at them. And it would really be cool on our podcast Facebook page if people sent in their pictures of what their grass is.
Oh, so we can get some examples.
Yeah. So if you have shade, you can use the Japanese forest grass or the lily turf. The Japanese forest grass is beautiful.
So has the red streaked into it?
And people think grasses are just for dry landscapes, but remember going back to like Ruby Andrews, her beautiful, lush landscape was full of Japanese forest grass, and it made it really lush. So that's the great thing about grasses. Even if you have a lush landscape full of hydrangeas and everything else, they still fit in there. If you have a dry landscape or a native landscape, they fit in there. They fit in everywhere. It's boring to have just round shrubs. You want to bring in the grasses because they complement everything. And when you look at it, you drive outside of Sacramento, the native area, what is it? It's grasses. They're so adapted to this area. It makes so much sense. They bring color, they bring dimension, they bring movement. They provide everything. There's a grass for every landscape need. Plus, the benefit is they're helping with the pollinators. They're helping with the beneficials. They're helping feed the birds in the wintertime. It's a whole win-win-win. And we have gone more to ecological gardening and ecological landscape. We talk a lot about mulching. We talk a lot about not using pesticides. We talk about, just low maintenance landscape.
You had
Voila.
You had me at low maintenance. I was going to say, I was already sold. I think low maintenance, drought tolerant, ecologically friendly. Like these are all things that you go, okay, check. I'm loving it. If you had to boil it down, do you have some, like, what's your personal favorite when you see the grass flowing in the sunshine? Which one brings you the most joy?
Well, there's a lot, but I like the Carrick's Prairie Fire. It's orange, and it has a natural look to it. Or the Junctus Blue Dart, which looks a perfectly round, dark. It looks here I go, a sculpture again, but it looks like almost like a metal sculpture in your yard.
What's a good grass? I'm like imagining like a beautiful, lush tropical garden. Is there a grass for that?
Sure. Well, if most tropical gardens have a lot of shade, so your black mondo is really cool. It's very, very dramatic.
And it's truly, tell our listeners, what color are the leaves?
It's black.
Yeah, it's black.
It's black. So
beautiful dark leaves.
Or the Japanese forest grass with the yellow and gold with the variegated leaf to it is fantastic. There's so many different uses for grasses.
So, Greg, we love our natives around here. Are there any other native grasses or grass-like plants that we should have our radar set for?
I think one of my favorites is the Pacific Coast iris. They bloom late winter, early spring. They look great. They're native. But when the flower comes out, it's almost like you get a drum roll. They're so beautiful. And you think about that, they take adverse conditions. They're in Sacramento, and they do extremely well here. And they're just absolutely beautiful. They come in a lot of different colors. So that's one I would definitely choose. But you can tell I like all.
Yeah.
I really feel like I was robbed when I started in the nursery industry because we didn't have all these choices. And then I drive around Sacramento and I see all these beautiful Western landscape, California landscape yards with all these different grasses. And I just sit there and I look and go, wow, this is not only beautiful, it's low maintenance, it's not taking a lot of water, but it's bringing all the wildlife in, it's bringing all the beneficial insects in. It's beautiful, and you plant them with California natives or you plant them with climate adaptable shrubs, and they just complement each other.
I agree or disagree. I feel like when you use grasses in the landscape, there's a lot of those benefits, but really one of the ones that wasn't listed, it makes everything else look really nice.
Exactly.
It's like that friend who is just like super supportive. Actually, you're a bit of this way, Greg. The person who's like never going to bring the attention on themselves, but they'll put a lot of effort into pushing all the people around them and holding them up a little bit. And I feel like the grasses in the landscape, they kind of do that. Where they're not shiny, they don't have the bright, shiny flowers, but they do everything else, and it makes the things that do bloom just even pop even more.
Nice.
Well, thanks. It was funny you brought that up because I was at the Elk Grove store this morning, and I met a really awesome lady named Diane, and she comes up to me and she goes, I'm always looking for Kevin and Austin, and I never see him.
At the nursery?
Yeah, and then
I was there today.
Then in Elk Grove. And so she goes, what's it like working with them?
What is it like, Greg? What are you going to say?
Don't be honest.
You know what? I'm honored to work with two amazing people. We just did a podcast down in Zager Genetics down in
that was so much
Modesto.
fun.
And I listened to it this morning. I listened to it, to check for edits and all that. And I sat back and I thought, you know what? I work with the best. Austin does an amazing job with editing, and Kevin just knocked it out of the ballpark with the questions, plus the personalities.
We just had fun down there.
Wasn't that fun?
That was too much fun.
Well, thanks for all that. I know I drive you guys nuts sometimes.
No, you don't.
But
No, you're a
thank you
pro,
so
man.
much.
I have to tell everybody, he is the typical Virgo.
Yeah.
I gave him a Virgo cup because this guy is like the poster child of Virgo.
And what does that mean to
that
you,
means
Greg?
that his ducks are in a row. They are proportionally fixed in a position. Oops, sorry about that. They are equidistant apart, and they are quacking.
Very orderly.
And
Thank
then
you.
Kevin, oh my God, Kevin's got such a great personality, and what really shines is his love for people and plants, and that's something that I think makes a good part of this podcast. It's
we got a good team.
We
here.
have fun.
Yeah,
We have fun.
Thanks, guys. But that's all the time we have for this week. So, Greg, I would just want to send it back to you and give one last push for why you love grasses so much. And I do want to point out, you said when you arrived here that trees are your favorite thing. But what is the second thing you love most?
His grasses. Because they're so versatile. They blend into the environment so well, but they add so much beauty to a landscape. And there is a grass for every place. And so when you go into the nursery, don't be intimidated by all the varieties. Go online and see, what they look like. Oh, wow, I like this grass. Then Google it with your phone and check it out. But you're going to not be dissatisfied with grasses.
Love it. Yeah, all the different colors, sizes, and textures. There's a grass out there for everybody. Greg, you won me over. I loved them to begin with, but now I appreciate them even more. So I tip my straw hat to you, sir. Thank you for all that you do. We love having you in studio. It was actually really fun. Until next week, garden friends, I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in each week. We love having you here. Please check us out on the Facebook garden group out there in the Green Acres podcast group. Check us out on Instagram and, of course, on YouTube as well. There's a Green Acres Garden YouTube out there. Austin, you're killing it. Over 10,000 subs right now. And thanks to Austin, Greg, and to all of you, have a great week out in that garden. Please get out there, grow a little bit, have some fun, and we'll see you back here next week for some more garden adventures. Until then, happy gardening to you all, and please never stop growing. Grasses.